Welcome back, Bachelor Nation. We are so excited for today's episode because we have a few of our absolute favorites back in the studio with us. I'm over here looking at Rachel pouring out the champagne and coffee because it's one of those mornings. But we cannot wait to just talk life after Bachelor again with some of our favorite fellas. We got Garrett and Bryan in the house.
They're back.
They're back. You can't get rid of them.
Glad to be here again.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, Bryan?
I do this all the time.
I'm thrilled.
I can't catch a break. I'm like, I feel like it's a guy thing.
No, but we're so happy to have you here just because you're the man in our life. And I feel like, well, we had such a successful double date the first time when we did this on the podcast, so why not do this again? But I feel like we didn't get to just talk about life and life after the Bachelorette. Don't you always say The Bachelor?
I always say The Bachelor.
Even though we were on The Bachelorette, I'm like, yeah, I was on The Bachelor.
Bachelor
It's just
franchise.
like a general term. But anyways, I feel like the questions we get the most, and I'm curious about you guys, is what happens after? You know, there's the day. Oh, and our fifth co-host today is Minnow. She's back with us again, guys. She always gets upset when we don't acknowledge her. So
she wants her voice to be
Minnow.
heard. She'll tell you about life after The Bachelor for real.
Well, she's a part of life after The Bachelor.
She is.
We need to talk about our little dog babies.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that because I do not consider my dog a dog. So are just our babies. He's not an animal. I'm sure. I know we're obsessed, so I know you think about that the same way.
It's so important to feel professional, polished, and prepared when it counts, and that's right now. For small business owners, being prepared when an opportunity comes up is crucial, and having a professional business card ready to hand out is the first step to making something happen. Vistaprint is here to help you own the now with free shipping on any business card in any quantity. You can choose whatever style, finish, shape, or paper you want, and shipping is free. Ready to get started on your business cards? It's super easy. Just plug in your info and logo into hundreds of designs tailored to your type of company. Then pick the paper, style, and quantity. Vistaprint wants you to be able to own the now in any situation, which is why our listeners will get free shipping on all business cards, any style, any quantity. Just go to Vistaprint.com and enter promo code BHH for free shipping on all business cards, any style, any quantity. Limited time offer. Own the now at Vistaprint.com, promo code BHH.
I feel like everyone knows, you see our journey. You see us fall in love. You don't see our little rendezvous where we have our, happy couple weekends. You see us on stage. We announce who we're with. We go to New York. We do all this press, and then that's it. Don't you feel weird? Like I'm curious to know how you feel because you're in this weird place where you're like, all right, now you kind of start dating. This is reality. Where do you go from here?
Yeah.
What did you guys do first?
It was a whirlwind, to say the least. I think I never realized how just insanely passionate the Bachelor Nation family is, because when I came off of The Bachelor, I went straight into Bachelorette. We did our after the final rose, and then my phone was taken away, and I did ooh, I like that sound. and then I became Bachelorette. So it wasn't really until Garrett and I were finally in public where our life really started, where we definitely got to know each other very well while we were still in hiding in the happy couple houses, because you're stuck in a house for days on end. But it was just after that, real life hit us. Where do we live? What are we going to do after this? All those questions. And you're trying to form this new relationship with the entire world watching you and having a say. And so it was an adjustment. I think neither one of us were prepared for. I just think the notoriety that came with it. I mean, and Garrett, I can't speak for you, but I was blown away. I didn't really know how to handle it. I felt like I was this little fresh baby out of the womb that didn't know how to live at first. So it was probably the biggest changing moment of my life, I would say. And then we kind of just figured it out. Garrett and I decided where we wanted to live together, what we wanted to do, how we wanted our life to look post-show being normal. But yeah, Garrett, what would you say?
Yeah, it was obviously
everything she said.
Yeah, everything you said, but drinking water from a fire hose. I mean, it was you're taking all this stuff in that you've never experienced or done before, and it's just put on your lap now. And the thing that I had trouble with was she's obviously halfway across the country, and now we're both in places where we don't want to go. So she didn't want to come to Reno. I didn't want to go there. And then it's like almost figuring that aspect out. And then once you do figure out that you want to move in together, that's like the hugest step from the show, you know, other than being engaged on the show or not being engaged, but just being together. And then deciding like we're going to move our lives in together and just join them up. It was, I don't know. It was.
Yeah. And I think those happy couple weekends are clutch, because at that moment you realize, okay, you know, we've had basically cabin fever with each other for 4 or 5 days. We're not sick of each other. We're like, you know, the relationships are just getting better. And I think that the conversations that were had during those times is when, you know, you're able to kind of establish what you guys are going to do moving forward. For Rachel and I think we always kept communication. I mean, we were FaceTiming every day, talking multiple times a day. So, you know, those 2 weeks in between didn't really seem like a whole lot. And then, you know, once we were together, you know, we talked about, you know, we were both on the same page as far as, you know, my career allowed me the ability to move to any state pretty much. And she was still barred in Texas and working. So I was like, you know what, let's just go to Texas.
He made it very easy for me.
Yeah. I mean, I like the commitment was there. You know what I mean? Like we wanted to be together. That came first. And, you know, that's what we're going to make happen.
I think it's interesting what you said, Becca, about being in the womb, because what you underestimate, and this is advice to any future people coming to be a part of the Bachelor franchise, if you make it this far, is that you are so protected when no one knows who you chose. People are guessing, maybe they're listening to the blogs or on Reddit or whatever, but they don't know. So you're in this bubble of, I found my person, I'm so in love, you know, production is still putting you up, and it's like that bubble bursts when you have to say, okay, this is who I picked. And now all these opinions come flooding in about what you should or shouldn't have done. And I know for Bryan and I, we faced so much backlash. Like, I got so much backlash for picking Bryan, even though I knew my decision. I knew I made the right decision. And I'm very curious, like for us, so the first day, and I've spoken about this before, but I don't know if I've ever told you, and I know I never told you, Garrett. But when we did that media round in New York, everybody was asking us questions about the guy I didn't pick. And it became so heavy because I was in a place of, well, I'm still under contract, so, you know, I'm not going to bite the hand that's feeding me. But at the same time, I want to honor and protect my relationship. How do I respect Bryan, but then also respect the process? And it got to a point where we were at a head with each other because I couldn't find the fine line. And we just had to clear everybody out of the room and it just be the two of us. And I bawled. Like, I just needed a good cry. I was so frustrated. And we just kind of held each other in that moment and were like, you know what? It's us against the world. We know what we have. We need to ignore all of the outside noise, and we need to be a united front and face this together. And it was after that we were like, you know what, if we can get through this and we know we have each other's backs, then we can get through anything. So I'm very curious as to how it was for you guys, because
Can we cheers to that?
Cheers. I'm very curious. Cheers.
Cheers to having backs.
I'm very curious as to how it was for you guys, because you're on a plane, you're not really on social media, you're dead tired, you're taking a red eye, you land, and then it's like, boom, your phone goes off.
And that's the thing, no one can expect it. When you watch the finale, you watch those couple hours go down, the couple's on stage, you literally hop on a plane, take the red eye, you're exhausted, you're still in the same hair and makeup that you were on stage the night before, and they're like, okay, you have to go do GMA, you have to be on live TV, you have to give all these interviews. It's like a full day of nonstop interviews, and you're talking about the same thing, and that what I experienced personally is like, it was such a happy moment. I was so excited to finally share, like, Garrett is my number one pick, like, we're together, it's the two of us now. But the media doesn't always want to to interview like the happy, like show the happy side of things. They want to talk about the drama. The runner up. How do you think he's feeling? It takes away. And when we were on stage with Chris during after the final rose, we of course had to address it, but you only have so much time. You can say a statement and apologize. And so the next day I felt like we were constantly saying the same thing over and over and over. And it really kind of put a damper on like that first beginning to the relationship, because you just want to be excited. You're in that honeymoon phase and you can't be. And so that day it's exhausting. So I can totally see why you were like, everyone needs to get out. We need our moment. Like we need to just be alone. I think Garrett and I got to the point that day where I think we were being interviewed. I think it was over the phone. We had all of these media people on the phone and we're sitting in this room trying to answer these questions. And the way that these reporters were asking the questions were so like they weren't asking direct questions, first of all. And so Garrett and I were looking at each other like, are we losing our minds here? Are we like living in an alternate universe where we don't know like what is going on? And we just burst out laughing. Like I thought we were losing our minds.
I had to cover my face with a pillow because I didn't want to be like rude on the interview. So I was laughing so hard, and then it like triggered this chain reaction of laughs to this interview, and it was terrible.
Yeah, it was so bad because we were exhausted. We had been talking about the same thing. And so it wasn't until that night where... Also, too, we did not realize... Okay, I'm from small town Minnesota. Garrett is from Central California. We did not realize, like, once you leave the interviews that day, like, paparazzi is following you. I never thought that was going to be a thing. In my wildest dreams, I never thought paparazzi would have gotten in a car and chased us. I was like, what the heck is going on? I was so out of my element. We could not have fathomed it.
TMZ owned like a monster truck and was like driving over cars through
like running red lights, everything.
Like,
we were actually just talking about this today, like paparazzi. I'm like, I knew it happened for like Princess Diana and like important people. Like, why the hell are they chasing us to get a photo of us walking into a hotel? It was so strange. And so it wasn't until we got into our hotel room, and I think it was like 7 p.m, we literally sat down, ordered room service, and Garrett didn't even eat. I think he just passed out right away. And that was our first day together in public.
I think that sounds about right for us.
Yeah, you just kicked up your feet.
Exhausted.
You're just drained. And then the next... So then,
I think because you go from 0 to 100 immediately. You know, when the show's done, it's like you don't really know the impact you have on people being on the show. And like... They don't almost look at you as a person. They look at you as like some figure that they watch on TV.
Yeah, it's fake. It's fake.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that, touching on that, they've seen you on their TV screens for how many weeks? They feel like they really know you.
Yeah.
And we always talk about this with, you know, let's say like a Leonardo DiCaprio, like somebody sees him out, like they're not going to run up on them like they do Rachel. Like I remember a basketball game, like, some girl just like literally grabs her by the shoulder. Oh my God, Rachel!
I was going to ask you, do you guys get
personal space?
No, exactly.
Like,
it's like people will grab you. They like you would never do that to a normal person or a stranger. Like you would never just go up and they have just there's like this lack of boundaries that I think people think that they know you because they've seen your love story unfold. But that's the part that was really uncomfortable for us, where Garrett knows. Like I had such bad anxiety for the longest time where I didn't even want to go grocery shopping. I didn't want to do any normal things. I did not want to leave my apartment because I was so on edge. Like who's gonna grab me? Who's gonna make a scene? And I make that sound so bad. Like I don't want to be.
No,
like
that's
I'm so
not bad.
appreciative of the world and all the opportunities and like the love and support, but there's also like I'm still a human. I still need my time and my space, and so that part was really tough.
And then you get put in these situations like in public. Not too long after that, the following month, we were in Nashville, and we went to my school was playing Vanderbilt. So I went out there with some friends, and we went out for the night. And we were drinking a little bit, but you know, not heavily or anything, and she got bombarded by these girls and they cornered her. And for me, I'm like, and she's literally trying to get through and they're grabbing her, like handling her, trying to take pictures. And for me, I'm like, what do I do in this instance? You know, because do I grab the girl that's grabbing her and try to like move her off? What is this girl going to say to me, or
Then
what's
it's
going
like
to get
you're the
reported to
asshole.
me?
Yeah.
And everybody's phones are out. And so I was just caught in this like super stress out because I'm like, I wanted to throw this person like down the stairs is how angry I felt because they had her
Luckily-
just cornered and she was like freaking out.
But luckily, one of our girlfriends was there. Who, Addie, if you're listening, thank you. She was like the bulldog that came in and like pushed them off and like pulled me.
It
and
was insane. I
it's
never
just
expected that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Colleges
I
are
was
the
like,
worst.
oh
That's
my
what we
God.
have come to realize. That is where most of the fans are, and they just corner you. Like we're big sports fans, so we go to games, and that's just where it becomes overwhelming. But I think it's important for you to say this and for people to hear it because they think, oh, they're on TV, they just want to be famous, and it's like, no, that's not necessarily true. We are normal people. You guys were very similar to what we did. When it was over, we tried to figure ourselves out, build our foundation, and live a normal life. Yeah, we do things here and there on TV, but we weren't like out and about trying to be seen. We went to Dallas. You know what I mean? I think people need to hear that kind of stuff because what you also don't realize is all of the odds are against you. You are not meant to be, honestly, you are not meant to have a successful relationship.
Right.
So when you see it happen, like you guys, and I'm talking like to our listeners, when you see it happen, please know that the work was put in to make that relationship successful. It's not like this magical experience where it's like, you know, you have to watch your significant other navigate 30 plus other relationships. You have to relive that experience when you've been living outside of it for months. You have to deal with millions of people having their outside opinions on your relationship. Then you have to convince your family because sometimes your family, like for us, we had to say, I remember my dad was like,
they're
you
old
guys are
school.
infatuated with each other. Give it a year and then we'll see where you are. So it's like you're trying to convince so many people of what you have. It's honestly easier to just give up.
And is it one of the questions that we get the most, or at least that I do, is it real?
Yeah.
Is the Bachelorette real?
Totally,
Yeah.
They think it's all scripted and fake, and that like you have this certain time frame or contract that when it's done, it's like you do whatever.
Yeah.
It's
And people think that we're like millionaires from the show. I'm like, I quit my medical sales job and I got paid $0, you know, to do this or anything after. Because people still to this day are like, oh my God, where are you guys going to dinner tonight? Does ABC pay for that? I'm like, well, no. What are you talking? No, they don't pay for that.
yeah. People see the Instagrams and all these. They're like, oh my gosh, your relationship is perfect and it's so easy, and you just got to travel all the time. It's like you put probably an extra work because you're combining two lives that you're nowhere near each other to begin with. You're combining those lives. You're figuring it out with the entire world. Well, not I shouldn't say the entire world, but a big chunk of people weighing in. Like even to this day, this blows my mind. I'll still get people commenting on different photos or messaging me being like, I'm still mad you didn't choose like Blake, or I'm so mad that you sent Jason home. It's like the ship has sailed. This is 2 years
We get it
later.
too.
Yeah, it's like it just blows my mind the stuff that people still say and want for you.
Oh, and how about the people that went to Body Language University where they see you out? It's like Rachel wasn't smiling for 10 seconds straight.
You guys.
They're unhappy. They're about to break up.
Did y'all deal with that? Because that gives me, we had that anxiety, I will say, right after the show. Kind of like the pressure of, maybe we need to hold hands or we need to look like we're laughing and smiling and happy because we went to one thing. And I remember like Bryan was like trying to find an Uber. I was focused on something else, and they were like, they weren't even interacting. Bryan was ignoring her. And it was like, oh my gosh, people are watching you like crazy.
Yeah, they were like, oh, this is a total business relationship. Yeah. It's like I was literally trying to get an Uber. I think I was going to a shoot.
Yes.
She was already working there, so I was just like, babe, what's the address to where we're going next?
They'll pick apart any little thing, anything that you say, you do, if you touch, you don't touch, whatever it is, like you hear about it.
And that's another thing too that drives me crazy is, well, you're a chiropractor. Yeah, chiropractor. So it's like a lot of the times now it's like people are like, do you work? Are you ever going to work again? And it's like, what she's doing here is work. What, being on the Bachelor Live on stage is work. You know?
I do have more going on now
with,
than I ever did.
Yeah, other companies is work. It's like, it's not like we just quit working and we got this royalty from being on the show. We're out, like, it's actually made it harder for me because now it's like going out and finding business on a constant basis, and it's not anything, that is, I like before when I was in sales and whatnot, it was like I was doing the same thing, but within a confined territory, and I knew what I was going after. But now it's changed. So it's like we're still working, and I don't know.
You're just trying to figure it. Everyone
Everyone
in life
just
is trying to
judges you
figure
for
it out.
every
A good
move.
point.
All right, if anyone out there watched my Bachelorette premiere years ago, you know that Garrett loves his minivan. And now we have Pacifica, which is the most awarded minivan 4 years in a row. It offers best in-class storage capacity and more than other SUVs or crossovers of its kind. Plus, it has dual 10-inch HD touchscreens and built-in games and apps. So if you ever want to have a good time, get in the Pacifica, people. This car has a 360-degree surround view camera that gives you a bird's eye view by using 4 different cameras to see everything around the vehicle. And if you don't like the look of a minivan, well, that's okay. Check out the S Appearance package. It has a much sportier look with the all blacked out exterior and interior accents, including blacked out 18-inch or 20-inch wheels. Can't wait to see Garrett rock this Pacifica. And now Chrysler is offering Bachelor Happy Hour listeners an exclusive $1,000 bonus cash offer toward the new Chrysler Pacifica. Visit pacificahappyhour.com and fill out your info to get your exclusive $1,000 offer today. All right, everyone, living a healthy lifestyle is more than just about eating right. It's about ridding potentially harmful chemicals wherever you can, including your soaps and cleaning products. If you're wondering where to start, well, look no further than Grove Collaborative. Grove is the online marketplace that delivers all natural home, beauty, and personal care products directly to you. Grove takes the guesswork out of going green, and every Grove.co product is guaranteed to be good for you and the planet. I personally stocked up on all of my Grove cleaning products before I left for tour. I had to make sure Garrett was safe and sound and was able to clean the kitchen when I'm gone. They also have more than just cleaning products, so I stocked up on my favorite thing, which are the candles. So they have a whole lifestyle line as well, people. Join over 2 million lifetime customers who trust Grove Collaborative to make their homes happier and healthier. Plus, shipping is fast and free on your first order. Now, for a limited time, when our Bachelor Happy Hour listeners go to grove.co/bachelor, you can get a free 5-piece cleaning set from Mrs. Myers and Grove. That's a $30 value. Again, go to grove.co/bachelor to get this exclusive cleaning offer. That's grove.co/bachelor.
Let's just talk to our listeners, because I read a statistic. Don't ask me where I saw it from. It could have been Instagram. But no, it was a real article that said 86% of people want to be social media influencers. Like this new generation. I don't know what to call them. Z, AA. I don't know what we're on at this point.
I don't even know what I am.
But we're millennials technically.
Yes.
Yeah.
But and I don't consider myself one, but technically by age you are. So Gen AA, they want to be influencers. And I think that you bring up a really good point about how it does hinder you when you're trying to have a career. People see you and they think, oh, they've got it made. That's it. Life is set.
Like
but when you're
everything's given
trying to
to you.
enter the real world, people don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like I didn't watch the show before, so I was around a lot of people who didn't. They're like, oh, you're on The Bachelor? Who cares? I remember people think that I got ESPN because it's affiliated with ABC. What I have to remind people is I went to ESPN right after the show, and I was like, this is it.
When you
and
were
I
at
have
your hottest.
When I was at my hottest. I have a sports management background, and I studied sports law. So I'm like, I am qualified for this. I got this.
Yeah.
And they were like, we love you, but no. Our sports audience doesn't look at you and say she knows sports. They look at you as the Bachelorette. And I am at the top, my most popular. I had to spend a year of flying myself out for free. Granted, The Bachelor gives me a platform and it opens doors for me, but it was my job to keep myself there. I had to pay for myself to build a reel, to get the experience, to be where I am 2.5 years later now. It is not easy unless you just want to sell stuff. And then you have to remember 6 months later, a whole new batch of contestants are coming in. Unless
And they don't care about you.
do something that's just centered around Bachelor. And still you're competing against past contestants. They didn't offer everybody Bachelor Live on stage. My phone didn't ring for it. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are a number of other Bachelorettes. They didn't call all these other people. They gave it to you. So you're competing against so many people. Like I'm giving credit. I'm making a joke, but I'm giving credit to you.
Thank you, Rach. Yeah, it's people see, like, what I've lately have encountered is like, because I have Be the Label, the loungewear line. They're like, you don't
Which
do
I
anything.
love.
Yeah, Be the
Thank
Label.
you. But they're like, you don't do anything. You just slap your name on it. It's like, no, I go to meetings
my
all the time.
God.
I'm in photo shoots all the time. I'm with the designers picking out fabrics and colors and prints and coming up with like, I'm there more often
are
than
like,
not,
"Oh,
and
it
I'm not
must be
getting
nice."
paid that much for
Yeah.
it. Like, I will say it's more of just like, it's for me work, and it's a great creative outlet, but it's not just like it's not just me endorsing one product and
Yeah.
slapping my name on it. It's so much more than that. And people, my thing is like, I would never go up to somebody I don't know and be like, do you work? Do you have a 401k? How much do you get paid? What do you do? Like, that's none of my business. If you are doing something that is fulfilling you and bettering yourself and working towards some goal, that's all I need to know. Like,
Yeah.
good for you. And people, I think, because they feel like they know us and they see everything, they want to know all aspects. They just want to know every single detail about
Yeah.
your life. They think that they have a say in it.
And I don't think we're saying, listen, people, we're not saying that we're like to
Not
feel sorry for
grateful,
us.
yeah.
This
Right,
is
yeah.
an amazing platform, and it gives you amazing opportunities. And I think we can all agree it has changed our lives for the better in
100%.
every single way.
Yes.
But don't forget that it requires work. Like, it just doesn't happen for you and that's it, and you've got the golden ticket. It requires some work as well. It doesn't
Yes.
come easy. Otherwise, everybody would be doing this that's been on the show.
Yeah.
You know?
Amen.
100%.
I forgot my next question. I literally looked down at the paper and I was like, oh no, we're just shooting the shit.
This is good. Like, playing into like how much worlds have changed and just what we're kind of thrown into post show. Like, for Garrett, even this podcast today, like, he was a little nervous and because he'll still watch the show and he's still wrapped up in a little bit, but he's not, which I love about him, he's not like wrapped up in doing all these appearances and these media interviews and all this craziness. And he's just like, I just want to sit back and like drink a beer on my couch and chill. So even like for him to be here, props to you, Garrett.
Oh,
Thank you.
you.
He is not a fame whore, people.
I don't think anybody thinks that about either one of
Well,
you.
no, then they're quick to label you. Oh, they're just trying to be relevant. And
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
Yeah.
Don't you hate?
That's the
what we
line.
should
Yeah.
talk about.
It's
what
like
do we
literally
hate the
they're
most
like,
that
yeah.
people
oh, you're just
say?
trying to be
What
relevant.
do I need
Nobody
to do
cares
to be
about you
relevant?
anymore.
Let's be like, well,
You
I actually
washed up
want to know.
scumbag. Why don't you post something relevant? You relevant piece of shit. I'm
It's
like,
like, unless you're on the show for that second of the day, like, you're not relevant.
Yeah.
God.
I love that.
Yeah.
But why does that have to be? I mean, let's be honest. There are people in the franchise who do things to stay relevant.
Oh, totally.
But I wouldn't say anybody here does something like even this podcast. We're not doing it to stay relevant. I mean, we were on this show. We have a unique perspective.
Right.
We love sitting here talking to each other. I mean, my God, we're dressed alike today, and we didn't even
We are
plan this.
matching in tracksuits, guys. If you can't see.
It's just a fun outlet. And I think that when you're a part of the franchise, you kind of want to keep your toe in it and stay connected to it in some way because it did do so much for you.
Right.
But it's not like we're doing things for attention.
Right. Yeah.
For who?
Exactly. And
For
that's
what? Don't
yeah.
confuse me with some other people, and I'm not going to name names.
Like, I said yes to
fired.
doing this podcast with you because, like, Rachel, when you had me on as guest, I had such a good time.
We had so much
It's just
fun.
like fun for me to do, to like chat for a couple hours about the show that everyone watches. Like, that's why I'm not doing it to build I don't even know how to like build a following or like whatever the kids are doing these
Like,
days.
let's be honest, I like the outdoors, like hunting and fishing and stuff like that, and the platform isn't really built around that.
Yeah, no. Garrett will post pictures of like fish and ducks, and people are like,
Oh my
"You're a
God.
terrible human being."
Sometimes I'm like, watch this, Becca, or whatever post, and she's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Here come the trolls.
Yeah,
Right.
here they come. Yeah, they come flying
Do
out of
you
nowhere.
feel like you want to give advice to people who are coming after you in the franchise? And maybe this is more direct, like you guys probably, Garrett and Bryan are like, no, whatever. But Becca, do you feel the pressure to, like, you're seeing these people come up, you're seeing them go through it, you probably have people reach out to you, and guys, maybe you do too, I don't mean to count you out. Do you feel the pressure to like, let me help you out a little bit?
I wouldn't say the pressure, but I think I wanted, especially like right after my season, there was so much change and I didn't know where to turn to, and I really struggled with that I more so wanted to be a place that the girls from Colton's season felt like they could come to and ask
Did
questions.
I reach out to you? I'm pretty sure I did.
I think a lot of
I'm
the
pretty
girls
sure I
did.
did.
Yeah, you did. Caitlin
It
did.
might have ended there, but I definitely reached out to you.
No, but because even the advice when you and JoJo and Caitlin came on prior to my season helped so much. No, but a lot of the girls did reach out, which helped tremendously because it was a weird world and I didn't know where to turn, what to do. At that point, I couldn't really talk about what had happened because the show was still airing. And so I wanted to be a person that they felt like they could come to and ask advice or just vent. And I still want to be that. So if there's anyone out there on the show listening, like, please feel free, like you can reach out. Please don't feel like we're tearing your apart on this podcast. But I think it's different now because I was coming at it from an aspect of like, social media is crazy. You're being bombarded with all of this noise and you just really don't know where to turn. And you hear the best things ever and you hear the worst things ever. Yeah. And I struggled with that. And so I wanted to come from a place of like, we all get that feedback. Like, don't take it to heart. Like, if you need someone that's like there just as like a venting, somebody to vent to or cry with, like I can be that person. Now it's kind of hard because I think like a lot of people go on expecting that social media attention, which I didn't go on expecting that. So I came at it from a different way. Now I think they're maybe more seasoned and like want that.
Yeah. People say that.
Yeah.
We had Demi on the show. She said it. Mm-hmm. I interviewed Jenny McCarthy a while back. Mm-hmm. She said it. And she's like, it's kind of a sign of the times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, people are walking onto the show with like 100,000 followers.
Right.
I didn't even have a Twitter
like
when I came on The Bachelor.
Yeah. I just still to this day don't even know how to use Twitter that well. I'll like tweet out once a week, but yeah.
I didn't even think of an Instagram following when I went on the show until I came out of the shower and there was like a group of guys in the bedroom talking about the followers after.
Who did that? What were their names?
Rather not say.
Yeah, I'd rather not say.
No, get out of there. Come on.
If I had to,
I could take a gamble. I could guess.
I could write down names, but it was in the very beginning. It was within the first week that we had moved into the mansion.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That
And
is
I was like, I remember my joke
sick.
coming out was like, guys, I have 400. And they were like, you have 400,000 followers? And I was
You
like,
disgust
I was
me.
like, no, I
Legit
have 400.
Yeah, I had 438
too.
Yeah. Same.
But like, okay, you bring up such a good point. That right there shows you, and people always joke, are you here for the right reasons or are you here for the wrong reasons? And it's become such a like muddied statement.
Right.
Who even knows what that means anymore? But it is terrifying to hear that week one, guys are talking about followers. I mean, as leads, Becca, is that not so scary?
Oh, yeah.
And I literally was about to ask this question, so thank you for the segue. Love a good segue. I'm scared for the franchise and the people you're bringing through. I mean, we've watched Peter's season, and you look at the women, and they just seem to be different as a whole. I'm not saying every single one there, but as a whole, different from what we've seen in past seasons, and I'm concerned.
I mean, I think, no offense, but I think that could have something to do with age. I mean, if you get some older individuals who, you know, maybe are advanced in their career, don't really care about all the social media stuff, and you know, they've lived their life, they've had experiences, they've been in love, they've had their heart broken. I think there's more of a chance that it could end up well like it did for us.
But what about the middle ground of like 40-year-olds maybe who are divorced, have been divorced and have kids and are in that? I feel like there is such
Rachel?
an untapped audience.
Yeah.
It's called The Real Housewives.
No. Those women are losing their men like that. You know, I know.
So they need to go on our show, on this show.
Franchise. Ramona Singer told me she should be the next Bachelorette.
Wait, is she single?
Yeah, she's single.
I'm sorry. I have not caught up.
Girl, yeah, Mario cheated on her. She found this whole, oh my gosh. This was like 2 seasons ago.
Ramona.
Anyways, we're digressing. But no, I forgot why we started talking about that.
Oh,
Like social media following.
Yeah. I think, and what I've seen in the show, and I was actually talking about this with someone the other day, I think the show is now trying to adapt itself to fit the social world a little bit more. I mean, back in the day, like, I think it was on Colton's season, you saw the whole conversation about like Kaylin and Cassie had been talking about going to these Revolve parties. Well, what did you see in Peter's season now? Revolve became part of the narrative. And so I think they're trying to adjust a little bit more. I think it's a conversation like, look, social media and like these crazy cool parties and opportunities aren't going to go away. So of course, people coming on the show are going to be open to that world. And I think if you go on being like, yeah, sure, it's going to be cool, I'll probably go to some of those things. I'm not going to say no, but to still not make it like, oh, I would never do that. And if you would say that, it's terrible. It's like hopefully you're going on the show to potentially find a partner. Like I'd hope that was your end goal and be pleasantly surprised. But I think it's just part of the world now that people just have to confront and say like, yeah, that's a thing. And we're not going to try to hide it, but we're not going to make the entire narrative about that.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like for them to just wash the slate clean. Let's just start over. I don't want you to pick somebody from a prior season. I don't want anybody from the past. Let's just go back to how they used to do it. Let's bring in somebody who's a successful businessman or woman, or maybe even a celebrity. Let them be the Bachelor, Bachelorette. Let's have a whole new crop of people, and there's no rules. It doesn't matter what age you are, whether you have kids, whether you've been divorced, what your sexuality is. I mean, just like, let's just have a free-for-all and start over, because I think that that's what's so great about winter games, summer games, all of this stuff. You bring in people from the look of confusion on Garrett's face.
No, I'm not confused. That's what,
He looked when I said winter summer games. He was
I was like, I haven't seen those. I heard Bryan mention summer games today, and I was like, what is that?
The Olympics coming up in a
They've
couple
announced it
years.
at this point that it's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's so cool about that? I loved it. Like it was off the beaten path. We never knew what we were going to get each episode. We didn't know how the dates were planned, who was going to pop up. And you have all these people from different countries coming together, and it's guys and girls living in the same place. That was so cool. It was refreshing. I think something like that needs to continue.
I agree.
I guess why did they switch it in the first place? I think it was a situation where you saw them in the previous season. They got their heart broken. It's like you followed their journey, and
It's
they want to
genius.
see you find love. So I feel like that's why they strayed away from the old school mentality.
Okay, Becca, you mentioned something that kind of stood out to me when you were talking about how people give their opinions on what you should be doing as a woman in your relationship, which I feel like we get those same questions too. I guess, so one, how do you navigate that? And do you feel like, I feel like for us, it's a constant conversation of where are we going to live? Because like you guys, we lived in 2 different cities, 2 different states.
Yep.
How do we bring our lives together? I have my goals. Bryan has his. Like, I'm very interested with you guys where you stand on that and kind of how you work through it and where you see yourself going.
Yeah, I think like you guys, it's just a constant conversation, and it's just realizing you have to compromise at times. Like, in terms of moving, it was a huge adjustment to both of us, and we couldn't agree. So we wanted to come to a neutral territory where we could start our life together in a new ground, where it wasn't like, oh, I'm just changing for you or you're just changing for me. We really wanted to make it our own, which is why we came to California. But even in terms of career paths and work, like, I have personally gotten not a lot of criticism, I shouldn't say a lot, but some criticism for saying yes to the Bachelor Live on Stage tour, because I'm gone for 3 months across the country, and Garrett will be there for part of it with me. He's going to travel and come see me, but there's been a lot of people messaging me being like, I can't believe you're leaving your partner. He must be so sad that you're like packing up to leave him, and like, thank God you have such a supportive man. It's like, why as a woman can I not say yes to these amazing opportunities? Like, if it was a man, and this is something I have to talk to Ben about. I'm not sure if he's gotten it. I don't think he has, but Ben's in a relationship with someone, but I don't think he's probably getting it to the same extent of like, why as a woman is it frowned upon for me to leave and travel and focus on bettering myself and this career path and this new endeavor? I don't get that. And like, yes, of course, thank God Garrett is so supportive, and I have an amazing partner that says, go do it, like, you deserve this, like, it's an amazing opportunity. But
I mean,
all that should matter is what like if he wasn't supportive and if he was like, no, I don't think it's best like for our relationship right now, I wouldn't be leaving him. It's
I didn't even know people were criticizing you for that.
Yeah, I get,
That's like the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And I swear it's
like,
some
why
trolls with
shouldn't-
like changing their account names, and it's always under new accounts. But I'll screenshot it. I thought I showed it to
I
you.
get criticized all the time because people are like, you're not back in medical sales, you're just riding Becca's coattails. So that's what I get, like messages about that all the time. Like, you're just riding in her shadow, and I'm like, oh my God.
And what you got to chalk it up to is people don't know. And of course, people will have their opinions. But at the end of the day, what matters is what we think and what we feel in our relationship and what's best. And you just I've learned to really just tune a lot of it out.
Yeah.
Like, of course, I'll clap back at some moments and say something and respond. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to do what I want to do. Garrett is going to do what he wants to do and what's best for our relationship.
Yeah, it's like, why shouldn't I would always support whatever she wanted to do, you know? It's like, I don't.
Absolutely, because in a sense, I mean, you're becoming a better version of yourself, getting new experiences, you know, growing as a person, which I feel is only going to make you stronger as a unit. You know what I mean? Like, if you were trying to hold her down and be like, no, you can't do that, I mean, you're not letting her spread her wings in a sense, you know what I mean? So it actually takes a very strong, supportive, and secure partner to actually do what he's doing.
Yeah. Y'all's dynamic reminds me a lot of Bryan and myself, and just what I think bothers me is that people try to tell us how our relationship should be, and it's really the confines are. I shouldn't say that word, but just like it really just depends on how you set it up for yourselves. And I think why does it have to be traditional where, you know, we go into a 9 to 5 and, you know, then you have children and you like pick them up from daycare, and like this is exactly how it has to be. And I think that what's beautiful is, because for Bryan and I, we he moved to Dallas for me, and then when I stopped practicing law, which I got a lot of hate for too. Oh, you just want to be famous and you stop practicing. It's like, why can't I just change my career?
Right.
And then I moved to Miami to support Bryan, and he opened up his practice there. And we were always like, okay, in 2 more years, we'll evaluate things. And sometimes things aren't matching up that way. And, you know, like my career is evolving more towards LA, but Bryan has been insanely supportive. And that's the thing that you mentioned this, Becca, and I'll just kind of like tag on to what you said, is I couldn't do what I'm doing if Bryan did not support me.
1,000%.
100%. So this is a partnership. And why can't our relationship be, okay, maybe we have to do something bi-coastal for a second, and then, but we have an end goal in mind. Like, we're not trying to do this forever.
And every relationship, you really have to make it your own. Like, I couldn't do what I've seen other friends do in relationships. Like, that's just not for me. And so we just have to be there for one another, and that's what we've learned. Like, life is crazy right now. We're all over the place, and that's just what it is. There's no changing that. You just have to adapt and compromise. And if Garrett were to ever come to me and be like, hey, I'm going to do this like live tour show for 3 months, there's no way I would say no. I'd be like, go for it. When can I come travel with you? You know, I'm going to be your groupie. Every relationship is their own, and that's one thing I've learned. It's easy to judge, and like I myself, even back in the day, of course I had my opinions, but I think that's one thing that the show really opened me up to, was like, everyone's different, and you just have to do you and adapt to what is best for you in your relationship, and hope that it works out. Like, why can't people just support us and be like, oh, that's really cool that they're doing this thing together?
Exactly. That's all I was gonna say, is there's so many people that want to insert their just negative comments, and they're just always down, and it's like they put these opinions out there in comments, but if you see them in person, they're like, oh my God, that's Rachel, that's Bryan from I don't know, and just on social media it just drives me crazy. So I try to she gets worked up about it sometimes with the comments, and for me, I'm just like, F everybody that leaves comments like that. They don't know you personally.
Really has to be your mentality.
They don't know where you're going in life, what you want to do. And it's like, do what you want to do and go with it, with like full force. Don't worry about like other people's opinions, and don't let them sway you right or wrong or whatever. Just do what you know is right and what you want to try to achieve, and go after it. And it's just you and I and our families. It's like, I hate people just piss me off.
Well, Well, and that's what I love about Garrett.
That's why he's fishing and going with hunting ducks.
Yeah. He's away from technology, so he doesn't do it. But he is my biggest champion. Like, he is the one where, like, for instance, one example was like this past week, I had to do a social promotion for a brand, and I posted the picture, and I took a shower, and he was the one who came on back. He's like, I got your back, babe. Like, I'm getting all these people right now. And so he's the one, like, going through all the comments and, like,
hate. I was just like,
just a funny way. But I'm like, I thank you. Like, thank you so I don't have to right now. And so, and that's just a very small example. But, yeah, I'm very lucky to have him.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Bryan didn't marry for my cooking skills. And thank goodness he didn't. Because I don't have enough time to eat a complete meal, let alone prepare them. Thank goodness I have a partner in life who supports that. But I also have Daily Harvest. Being busy doesn't mean you have to only eat takeout. And that's why I love Daily Harvest. Daily Harvest makes it easy to eat more fruits and vegetables, and they deliver these healthy, chef-crafted foods right to your door. You can choose from more than 65 different options like smoothies, soups, harvest bowls, and overnight oats. You can even pick from the smoothies that you like. My personal favorite is strawberry and peach, but they also have chocolate and blueberry, mango and papaya. I mean, it just doesn't stop. Each recipe takes one step to prepare. Just add your favorite milk to blend up a smoothie, or heat up a harvest bowl and top it with an avocado or a fried egg. So go to dailyharvest.com and enter promo code Bachelor to get $25 off your first box. That's promo code Bachelor for $25 off your first box at dailyharvest.com. One more time for the people in the back, that's dailyharvest.com. No, I'm literally sitting here and I'm like, this is exactly how Bryan and I are. Like, I'm watching on, I'm like, that's how we are. And I think that speaks to what makes a relationship so successful. You have a strong foundation. You have open communication. You understand that things are always changing. You have to make sacrifices. You have to compromise, and you have to support each other. Yeah. And that isn't easy all the time, especially when you fall in love in such a public way. Everyone has their opinions about you, and you have to, as you said, Garrett, cancel out the noise and just say, you know what? Fuck what everybody else is saying. We know who we are. We know what we have. And that is what makes us great.
Yeah. And all I was getting at was she was talking about her point. It's like people in lighthearted situations or pictures or whatever, they insert like the deepest, like hardest, I don't know, negativity and their opinions and all that. And I'm just like, man, screw what they say. You know exactly what your intention was in the picture or whatever it was. Yeah. And just keep moving forward. Because if you let that stuff hold you up, it just like drags you down.
Well said. And for anybody who is letting, trolls or, faceless people, e-thugs as I like to call them, attack you on social media or in print or whatever, like, know who you are. Stay true to that. Your circle of friends and your family members support you, and they know who you are too. And that's really what you have to rest on. Don't try to impress people you don't know. Don't try to be something that you're not. Everybody is made differently. We're all unique, and that's what makes you special, because there's absolutely no one out there who is just like you. I feel like I'm like, and thank you for tuning in to Therapy with Becca, Garrett, Bryan, and Rachel.
Right now. If you like your coffee with heavy cream and 4 scoops of hazelnut or whatever, just keep rocking it. Don't let somebody.
That sounds like my coffee. You guys aren't aware of this, or maybe, well, you should be, because that means you're listening to our podcast. But on Bachelor Happy Hour, Becca and I love to play games with our guests, so we can't leave you or let you leave without playing a game with you. So we're going to do rapid fire. I'm going to direct my questions to Garrett. Becca's going to direct hers to you, Bryan.
Wonderful.
I ask a question, 1-word answer, unedited.
No waiting.
Here we
You
go.
just have to give it to us straight. I feel like this is from Sal. We're like, do you want to play a game?
I wish we
Garrett's
had a
like,
camera
oh, no.
in here, because Garrett and Bryan look terrified.
They're like, what did we sign up for today, guys?
All right, here we go. Rapid fire. Garrett, first thing you ever noticed about Becca?
Her smile.
Oh, sweet.
Becca, your turn.
Okay. Bryan, the cutest thing Rachel does is?
Smile. No, actually, it's her laugh. It's her laugh.
Oh, it is a good laugh.
Yeah.
She does it great.
Oh, okay, Garrett. If you won $1 million, what would you buy?
I would invest it.
Oh, Honey.
I mean, that's the answer.
I mean,
That's
I was
the
hoping
answer.
you would have said a boat, but
No, that's the answer.
Too much upkeep. Yeah. Can rent those on the weekend.
Yeah.
wow. Oh, I got a good guy. Oh, sorry, Brian. Okay, Brian, if you bought a boat, segue. If you bought a boat together, what would you name it?
R&B.
Oh, damn.
I told Garrett on the way here, I'm like, they go by R&B, like you get like the music.
She said we could be the GBs, and I was like,
Okay, the EBGBs? I said the Bee Gees.
that sounds like a disease, Becca.
Now in the studio, you have Bee Gees.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Garrett. Becca's weirdest habit is.
Her weirdest habit. Let's see. Sleeping with her baby blanket.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say sleep talking.
Well, sleep talking with her baby blanket.
Do you sleep talk?
All the
Do
time.
you try to shake her and ask her questions in her sleep?
Oh, yeah.
Last night he woke me up like hitting my
Yeah.
back and was like, Becca, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah.
My dad used to. I used to sleep talk. I don't anymore. It's so weird. I used to sleep talk, and my dad used to ask me questions like, "Where were you last?" Like that kind of stuff to get
real
stuff out
curious
of
talk.
me. Yeah.
The only,
How much did you have to drink last night, Rachel?
one of her biggest breakdowns, I'll make it quick, was when she left it at a hotel and they picked it up with the sheets to take out for laundry,
Oh,
so
my
she
blanket.
thought it was lost forever.
Wait, thought what was?
My blankie, my
blankie.
baby
Oh.
blankie.
It's literally
no.
like this raggedy, gross thing that she washes.
Excuse you.
That she washes.
But this lady, a saint of a soul, went into the laundry, which is off-site, and found her baby blanket.
my
in all the
gosh.
hotel laundry.
And her name is Jamie. Jamie, if you were listening, I still owe you
Shout
that
out to
drink.
That is
Jamie.
amazing.
Shout out to Jamie.
I have a Care Bear. I still have.
Yeah.
Like from when I was born.
Yeah.
So.
I, like, I will always sleep
the
with
little
it.
Pig.
Well,
Copper's
my dog
torn
ate the
both its
eyes out of it.
eyes off. It's now
it's
his
a
toy.
demon.
It's now Copper's property.
that pig, it's Wilbur. Okay, Charlotte's
Whatever.
Web, obviously.
Has a name, Brian. Okay, Brian, your favorite thing that Rachel cooks is?
Honestly, I'm very particular. I would say
You can be honest.
Salmon. I would say
Okay. I
salmon.
thought you were gonna say nothing
You
because I
actually
don't.
do
I
good.
thought you were going to say
So, like,
cereal
I
or
was like-
something.
I was like, okay, I do make good salmon. Okay, Garrett, if you could be any animal, what would it be?
Bald eagle.
Without a doubt.
Why? Give it. Why?
America.
I just think raptors, they're at the top of the food chain and they can fly and soar and just look down. And then I love sushi, so they're always eating fish.
I feel like Garrett has thought about this answer before. Next question.
Animal
Bald eagle.
fishes.
Next
He
question.
likes fishing. I mean, that's perfect.
Because they're a protected animal and no one can touch him.
They're so majestic.
You are so majestic, Garrett, I will say. All right, Brian, the last movie you watched together was?
Ooh. The last movie.
I don't even know.
We
It
don't
was
know.
probably more like a Netflix show.
What was it?
The Outsider. Is that what it's called?
Oh,
That's on
I wanna watch
HBO.
that.
Oh, it's on HBO.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it. So we
Was
keep
it
falling
worth-
asleep
should
in it.
we watch it?
No, we've seen like
We've literally, I think we're still in the
one
first
part.
episode. We've fallen asleep every single time.
What's your favorite show that you guys watch together?
Oh, we got
Power.
a couple. Power. Homeland's back, by the way.
Oh,
Okay.
I want to actually watch Homeland. I have a whole list in my phone.
You haven't
Yeah.
seen one episode? Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
Amazing.
you're in
do.
for it. It's great.
Okay.
Garrett, where would you want to retire?
Oh. On a golf course.
Okay.
But what town?
That's a good
It's a
question.
safe answer. This could be a point of contention between you two. He's like Reno. She's like no.
Oh, that would be solid, but
Are you trying to read my
I'll just say
thoughts?
Neutral.
yeah, I'll just say
Neutral
Indio.
location.
I'll just say Indio.
You can say Tahoe. I wouldn't mind that.
Oh, Tahoe would be okay, on a golf course in Tahoe.
We've never been. We talk about going there. We've never been.
You
Yeah.
need to. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Tahoe. And Reno too. I mean, it is beautiful, but Tahoe is like this whole new. Brian, if you had access to a time machine, when and where would you want to go with Rachel?
If I had access to a time machine. Oh wow. I would say back to the proposal day.
Oh, good one.
That's a good safe answer.
yeah.
Would
It was a
you
great
want it
moment.
to be a
It was
little
the
less
beginning.
windy?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's so
It was funny. They told me to like pick her up, and it was just a bad move.
Well,
Like,
her dress
my
was so
dress was
heavy.
so
the
heavy.
dress was heavy, and there was like a bunch of rocks, and it was like a downhill slope.
Yeah,
and I was
it
like,
was-
this is probably not the best idea.
Is
I
that
would
where you
either
guys-
take Becca back to 3rd grade and see how much of a brat she was, or go to the future and see how we're looking.
3rd grade, I wasn't a bride. It wasn't until about 5th or 6th grade.
Okay.
That's I didn't even think about the future.
Although, you
I
know
was
what?
afraid
I
of
wanna-
his answer because I was like, there's only a certain number of time periods that I can
wanna-
go back
I wanna
to where
see-
things
I-
were okay for me. So I need to be. I'm scared.
If
what
I was to
you're
be the
saying.
second answer, we always have this debate, like college Bryan would have had
we
no
do talk about
chance with
this.
college Rachel.
Yeah, we
so I
talk-
just wanted
I
to
was
see
like-
how compatible we
Yeah,
were
that's-
back at that time. Because
that's
I
a good
think,
one.
I think I would have swept you off
We
your feet.
always talk about that.
We're looking at Garrett right now. There's no
Pretty
way.
sure
That's what we
Becca would've
say.
just
That's what
walked
we
by.
say.
Yeah.
So funny. Okay, Garrett, describe Becca in 3 words.
Smart, beautiful, courageous.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Courageous. That was a
Courageous,
good
huh?
one. That was a
Yeah,
good one.
yeah.
I was not expecting
was
courageous.
nice.
Like,
I
that was a
wasn't
good
either.
one. You said it. I was like, yes.
Yeah, you got to have some
Cute.
courage to get out there and do that and travel the nation.
Well, you're doing it with me, so hey.
Okay,
you're
yeah, I'll
courageous
be
too.
backstage.
Not on stage.
Garrett's like, wait, do I have to come? No, you're coming on sometimes. Well, I have to follow the lead. Bryan, what are 3 words that you would describe Rachel?
Rachel, I would say ambitious, strong, and beautiful.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I agree with all of those.
Oh,
Very good.
you guys.
You guys, you're getting laid.
I have a question. This is my question.
Give it to us. G.
He
Do you
cocked his
guys-
head back. I can't wait.
He's like really excited right now.
All right. You know how like when you're talking and you're in here and you have conversation and you're like serious but you're having fun? Like when you guys are alone and you go home, do you break into different voices? Let me give you an example.
Please.
Okay.
So I already say
I'm
yes.
scared for this.
I already say yes.
So, do you? All right, let me hear what yours would be.
Like sometimes I'll just.
What's the example?
How would you talk to her? Like if you were at home and like you were trying to be cute or say something funny or whatever.
I don't
just-
think it's necessarily meant to be cute.
Or does it
Or
have to
will it'll be like little zingers here and there.
Yeah.
Like she'll say like, "Oh, really, Rach? Is that what you're trying to?"
We do that.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I like to. Just like just random voices.
Dude, I take it y'all do it too.
Yes.
Give it to me.
I don't know. I'll be like,
He did so many though.
yeah. Although I'm laughing too hard that it won't come out right.
Wait, but
I gotta hear it.
Paint the picture. Like, why would you be doing this?
It'll just be like Becca will ask, a question that is so obvious, and or like, so in the morning, say she's like, "Hey, can you run down and grab like the mail from the post office or whatever?" And then I come in, she's like, "Hey, did you grab the mail?" I'm like, "Yes." And then like 45 minutes later, she'll be like, "Garrett, did you grab the mail?" And I'll be like, "Yes, Becca, I grabbed the mail for you."
But I guess we would do like you'd be like, yeah, Rachel, blah, 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 blah. Like we do that.
But
Okay.
then sometimes it's like we'll go back and forth, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I feel like I just talked like that for an hour."
Yeah. Well, and then he has this voice with Minnow. I don't know if it's like supposed to be Minnow's
We have a
voice.
dog voice. We have a dog
Then
voice.
he'll do it sometimes. Like,
Never in public,
give us
never
the
in
Minnow
public,
voice. Give us
never.
the Minnow voice.
Which one
like
is it?
the one that you've done for like the farmer's dog and stuff.
Oh, hey, it's me, Minnow here. And I'm
But he'll talk like it. So all in the morning, we'll wake up and he'll have like Minnow because she sleeps in bed with us, and he'll have her like on his chest, and he'll be like, "What are we gonna do?" I can't even do it.
Okay,
I
but
did
we
it for
do
an
it.
ad, like a voiceover, and they're like, "We can't have that."
That's not gonna
They're
work.
like, we can't humanize a dog, so we
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
No,
mute
we do
that.
it too, and I'll usually say that's not Copper's voice. That's not what he sounds like. I don't know what it is, but we're like, "Hi, honey, how's it going? You doing good today?" Like we said,
Minnow likes it. She comes towards you.
that's exactly.
Yeah, she knows.
Yeah. Hi, honey, how's it going? Like
Their ears.
And for a long time, we'll talk like that. No, yeah.
Minnow, do you like Auntie Rachel's voice? Rachel, I will say you have one of the best voices. Like
Oh,
listening
thank
back on the podcast, I'm so jealous of your voice.
Yeah.
Brian says it's soothing too. He's
It
like,
is.
you ever-
It's so soothing.
Oh well, thank you.
It's a good one.
Thank you.
You don't have like the Midwest accent like I do, so I'm jealous.
Well,
Yeah, she gets
my
big
southern
going
accent
hard.
comes out sometimes when I'm drinking,
it.
and it's like the drawl.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I like it. I feel like I was just hitting on you.
No, guys, thank you so much for being here. I think I love when we have our voice, it's great when we have guests come on, but it's so great to have the male opinion.
It is.
But then also just like our significant others here, and we can just talk on a completely different level. So we love having you here.
Yeah.
That means you have to come back. Honestly, Becca, I don't think they have a choice.
They don't. You will be back here. We're their secretary, so we'll make the schedule. We'll pencil them in.
But I love these times that we have together, and I hope you guys enjoyed listening as well. I hope you learned something, not just about the Bachelor franchise, not just about the background of our relationships, but just how to navigate this thing called life and, having a successful relationship. And we're just giving you our tools and what helped us. That doesn't mean that it's the same thing for you. You have to kind of figure out this yourself. So anyways, thanks for tuning in. We hope you come back next week. Of course, we're going to have a fantastic episode for you.
And thank you, Bachelor Happy Hour, for listening. And don't forget, we always love to hear from you. All of the comments, questions, concerns, and praises. You can always email us at happyhour@bachelornation.com.
And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, Bachelor Happy Hour. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this right now. Also, bachelornation.com is the place where you can get all the latest and greatest details about the show. It is the first place announcing what's coming up with Bachelor Nation. So make sure you check it out.